Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me today. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your work at Microsoft?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here with you today. So my role is to look at how we make AI safe and secure and trustworthy. AI is a really exciting technology, and we want to enable everyone to be able to use it successfully in the most important applications, but we can't do that if we don't trust the technology. And so I work on how we actually solve those problems and put people in control of the technology.
That's amazing. So when did you start in the AI field, and why you decided to get into AI?
Yeah, I don't know if I chose to get into it. I just found when I was doing my PhD that it seemed actually kind of unfortunate and dumb that technology was just fixed and that it didn't learn and adapt for people. And so when I was doing my thesis, I started using kind of an early form of machine learning to have the operating system actually automatically adapt to allocate resources.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so I kind of got into it by accident, but the reason I stay in it is that I think it is just so impactful and so interesting, because AI is really about taking technology but then really changing what's possible with kind of all other technology. So if we look at generative AI, for example, it is a tool that is a bridge that enables many, many more people to use technology, and so that's just enormously empowering and really exciting, but also very, very challenging, and so it keeps me interested.
It's such a new field as well, so you have to put a lot of work into making it accessible and responsible and not biased, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what's really exciting about it is, first of all, the technology is changing very, very rapidly. So every couple of months, it seems like we have a major step forward, and that unlocks totally new applications. So for example, in the last 6 months, now the models have gotten much, much better at coding, and so that's why we're all talking about vibe coding and things like that. But that also brings new challenges, where now we need to figure out if people who haven't coded very much before have much more coding technology available to them, how do we ensure that it's not introducing security vulnerabilities? How do we make sure they know what to do to test the system appropriately? And so each new use case is exciting, but also brings new challenges that we need to think about how to address so that people can really get the benefit of the technology while addressing the risk.
And so, for example, let's say I have no idea about AI and I'm just getting into technologies right now, like learning programming. How would you explain me the term responsible AI in the simplest way possible?
The field of responsible AI is about ensuring that technology adheres to the values that we care about. So for example, Microsoft's responsible AI principles are that AI should be fair and inclusive, it should be private and secure, it should be safe and reliable, we should provide the right amount of transparency, and we should be accountable for the outcomes. And so it's about making sure that we develop and deploy AI in a way that aligns with those principles.
So what would be your suggestion for smaller companies or smaller teams to make their AI more responsible?
Yeah, so first of all, you have to invest. A lot of people hope that someone else is just going to solve the problem for them, but your company is...
You have to do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like your company is probably using AI to do something really interesting in your business that only your company can do. And so, for example, I can test an AI model to make sure that it works pretty well and is generally safe. If you're using it in a healthcare application, you're going to need to test it to make sure it works well for that healthcare application, that it's going to not make mistakes that cause significant harm and things like that. And so you have to invest and you have to do that, but you should build on top of the work of other people. We at Microsoft have a huge investment in this space. Other organizations do as well. We try to publish and put best practices out there. We try to put out tools for people to be able to use. So start from what's already been developed, but then you have to tailor that to your specific use case.
So a lot of people ask about AI, and many developers are so unsure about the future of their jobs and artificial intelligence. Do you think AI will take over the jobs away from the developers?
So personally, I don't, but I completely understand the concern, because what we're seeing with AI is that it has the potential to transform everyone's job. And that's challenging, right? Where a lot of people are very confident in the way they work today, and it's a significant change for any individual or a whole organization to say, we're going to have to do this differently. And so it's really important that company leadership and AI leadership, helps bring people along in this transition. But the reason I'm not concerned is, first of all, we've always seen technology be a net creator of jobs, and so while the jobs will evolve, I think that this technology, like the ones before it, is going to make it possible to do totally new things that we haven't even thought of, and that's going to bring new jobs. The other thing is there's a huge amount of being a developer today that isn't fun. So for example, you want to upgrade your code base to like a new dependency, and that's just a bunch of rote work where you put in the new packages, you see what breaks, you make some fixes, you do that over and over again. Like, I would much rather spend my time coding on what I think is differentiating in what I'm developing than doing work like that. And so I think we have a lot of potential for this to enable us to get rid of that type of work, and also enable you to just iterate faster and to get to better ideas faster. And so I see this much more as an unlock for developers than something that replaces them.
I usually say that what we're experiencing right now with artificial intelligence, it's the same thing as the Industrial Revolution. So it's probably going to eliminate some jobs, but it's also will create new jobs. Like, even look at us, right? YouTube or social media didn't exist, right? So new things create new opportunities.
I think that's exactly right. And look, like Microsoft, has said publicly that we have hundreds of people working in responsible AI. Responsible AI wasn't a job 10 years ago,
exactly,
right?
Yeah,
and
that's
so
what it is.
There's absolutely going to be, changes, and of course in sort of the AI creation itself, but much, much more in all of the ways that people apply AI and the new things that are possible with that. And so I'm really excited to see this, whole brilliant world of entrepreneurs who figure out how to change the world with this technology.
So for the people that just getting into tech, what skills do you think they should prioritize?
Yeah, actually, I was just in a discussion where it included a bunch of parents, and they were saying, I'm sending my kid to college now, what should they study? Or, oh, I have a 5-year-old, what should I, tell them to go do? And, the 5-year-old, that's pretty far out in time, so maybe too early to predict what they should be studying. But for someone, going to college now, I still think that it's actually a great idea to go into computer science or other engineering fields, because what generative AI does is it enables many, many more people to build, but to have the skill set to see a problem and think, I can create a solution to that problem and I can just go make it happen right now. Many people don't have that sort of skill set or that training, and computer science does that really well. And so I would still go in that direction today, and then we'll see as time evolves, maybe there will be degree programs that are better tailored to what this technology enables in the future. But today I think that computer science is really going to still equip you to stay ahead of this technology and use it to its fullest potential.
I'm sure in the next couple of years there's going to be some degree about just AI.
Yeah.
Vibe coding.
Yeah. We'll see if vibe coding becomes a degree.
So how would you describe the future of AI?
I think this one is so hard because part of a transformative technology is that you don't really know how it's going to transform, just that it will, right? And so if we think about the internet, I think that people understood that, okay, we'll be able to communicate more quickly and we'll be able to have more knowledge out there, but then all of the different implications that that has had on society, the totally new businesses like you were talking about of like, hey, being able to be a influencer isn't something that was a job before. And so I think we're going to see the same thing with AI, where it's going to change how everybody works. It's going to change how industries function, but the total implication of that is not clear. Whenever I love to travel, and so whenever I'm traveling, I'm always, sort of amusingly looking around at all the people who are just like walking around posing in funny positions with their phone, and like, what a funny human behavior. But before smartphones and social media, nobody ever would have been doing that, and now it's like a commonplace human behavior. And so I think we won't understand all of the changes until it really happens. But that's actually a challenge for responsible AI, because we want to try to be looking at how do we get the positive benefits of this technology and, as much as possible, minimize the risk. And we can do that in the behavior of the system itself, but when you look at how people apply that over the world, it's not as easy to just do that with the technology. It's about the human systems and decisions that humans make about the technology. And so it's hard to predict these long-term, impacts of it.
Do you think anytime soon that we're gonna have little robot at home that does the dishes, that maybe cooks, cleans?
I hope so, obviously. I do think that like dishwashers are pretty good sort of robots that do the dishes. Maybe they're not very smart, but they certainly get the job done. And I love living in New York City because food just comes to me, when I push a button on my phone. And so maybe it won't look exactly the way people expect, but I think everybody, wants those things to be more accessible. And I think part of where technology plays an important role is actually lowering the cost of these things, lowering the barrier to entry, and making it more accessible for more people.
So for the people that are trying to get into the field of artificial intelligence, where do you think they should start?
With vibe coding. For people who want to get into AI, I think that what's great about this wave of AI technology is you can just start using it today, right? You can go to your phone and start using any of these different AI systems. You can start, vibe coding immediately. And so my first, advice would be just get your hands on it and start experimenting, see what it can do.
See how it works.
Yeah. And I think then you will have a much better feeling of how you can contribute and what the right direction is for you to get in AI. And so, for example, some people want to be scientists and they want to be the ones actually developing the models, but like many more people want to be the people applying AI and putting it to work to solve an important problem. And so I think that if you're in that second category, just getting started is a really good way to get started, right? Just getting your hands on it.
So what is the most exciting thing for you about the world of AI?
Yeah, I think that what's really exciting about AI for me is that it's so easy to see how it's going to change everyone's life for the better if we get it right. And so I'm just excited for the impact that I know that it can have to help people achieve more. And so, I'm really excited to be contributing to that vision every day.
It's amazing. I love your work. I love you. It's been great. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been fantastic.